You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. Happy Jupiter Day. How's everybody feeling this morning? It took me a little bit longer to get going today because we have a really intense transit to talk about. And of course, I always give this disclaimer when I say the word intense. Intense doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means that we have a lot of energy coming at us, and that's because we have a triple conjunction to talk about today between Venus, Mars, and Pluto. We know Venus and Mars have been transiting together through Capricorn really over the past 3 weeks or so, almost the past month now. But now the two planets of love, giving and receiving love, are meeting up with Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth. So what does it all mean? We're going to dive into it. I'll give you an idea of how to best use this energy, some things to think about, ways to use your chart and look at your chart, and then we'll do a collective card pull at the end of this video. So as we're getting started, let me know how your morning is going. Let me know how your new moon went, how you're feeling, if you set intentions, if you manifested. I always love to hear how the energy is affecting you. So whether you're watching this live and you want to comment in the live chat or you're watching after the fact, go ahead and let me know how the energy is treating you. So let's pull up the chart and we'll take a look at where the planets are right now. Venus and Mars are still within a degree of each other, but they actually connect with Pluto about 12 hours apart. And what that means is we'll be feeling this energy all day and maybe even tomorrow as well. But if you look at the chart here, you can see Venus and Mars are at 27, 28 degrees in Capricorn, and Pluto is at 27 degrees. So before we talk about really what this all means, if you have a copy of your birth chart, this is a beautiful time to pull it out and take a look at which house the end of Capricorn falls in for you, because this is the area of your life that will be activated the most by this conjunction, this triple conjunction. So if you're familiar with the houses, let me know which house it's falling in. I'll try to tell you what area of your life this is going to activate. Been a busy morning, but definitely feeling the slow down vibe. Also, if you are a Capricorn and you're thinking, okay, this conjunction is happening in Capricorn, your ruling planet met up with Mercury yesterday right around the full moon, or the new moon, I should say. So that might be why it felt like yesterday was like a little bit more speedy, or that there was a change of pace. And today, as Mercury is pulling away from Saturn, it's like, oh, okay, we can slow back down again. And taking things slowly today is probably a good idea, just because whatever comes up might be a little bit intense. Okay, so before we talk about this conjunction, I also have a very exciting thing to tell you guys. I'm so excited about this. Actually, let me pull it up for you. So I just figured out a way to put a birth chart calculator on my website. So you can go to thespiritualjournalist.com/birth chart now, and you can pull up a copy of your own birth chart, partnering with Astro Charts, one of my favorite sites to use for readings, to offer this to you. And I'm just so excited because so often during these live streams, I tell you guys, if you can pull up a copy of your birth chart, take a look at this area of the chart, and now I can literally direct you where to do that on my website. So here's what it looks like. You just go to the little menu, astrology, free birth chart calculator, and it brings you to this page. And you just need to know the time, date, and place of birth, and you'll get a full comprehensive overview of your birth chart. It'll tell you what aspects are the strongest in your birth chart. It will tell you, just what planets are in what houses. You still will have to do a little bit of research on your own to fully understand if you're not familiar with astrology, but it's a really great jumping off point. So that's available to you now, and I'm so, so excited for it. Okay, back to the forecast though. So this triple conjunction between Venus, Mars, and Pluto. We've been talking a lot about the conjunction between Venus and Mars over the past couple weeks because it's been in the forecast every day. But actually, I heard another astrologer this morning describe it in a really beautiful way. His name is Colin of Queer Cosmos. He's an amazing follow on Instagram, exactly how it sounds, just Queer Cosmos. He blends philosophy and psychology with astrology in a really, really beautiful way. So I highly recommend following him. But he said, Mars is the planet of me and Venus is the planet of we. Mars is the planet of me, Venus is the planet of we. I love that so much because Mars is that more carnal, aggressive, external energy. It's all about our own motivations, our own desires, whereas Venus is more receptive. It's about our relationships, how we receive love, how we take things in, how we show affection. So when Venus and Mars have been transiting together, it's this beautiful harmony between those two energies, between our masculine and feminine energy. It is enhancing our ability to work with other people who aren't necessarily like us or attract our opposite. This is a really powerful time of attraction, especially if you are looking for a romantic partner or looking to deepen a romantic connection. Mars and Venus being together is the perfect backdrop for that. But now that Pluto is in the mix, Pluto is going to intensify this energy. Really, Pluto intensifies everything it touches. So Pluto is known as the planet of death and rebirth, and it's very transformative, but while you're in the Pluto experience, it feels really difficult. It feels more like a death. So I would say today, if this hasn't already started happening for you, expect any repressed emotions or shadows to come up and come through. I've already been feeling this morning, especially if you have a lot of heavy Capricorn placements, because this is happening in Capricorn, or a lot of heavy Cancer placements as well. This will be opposing your Cancer placements. You might be feeling this more strongly than other people. We'll have an intense need for affection and an intense drive or motivation today as well. So if you feel like your needs aren't being met or you're not able to do the things you want to do, it could cause conflict. It could cause power struggles because it's going to activate those parts of yourself that have been repressed. Any true desires that you've been denying can come up today or over the next couple of days. This is really an unstable energy. So it almost feels like opening Pandora's box, right? When Venus and Mars are together, it's like, balance, harmony, beauty. These are our desires. And this is actually the third time Venus has met up with Pluto over the past couple months. The first time was on December 11th, just before Venus went retrograde. Then on Christmas Day, we had a conjunction between Venus retrograde and Pluto. And this is the third and final meetup that Venus makes with Pluto. So this is a really good time to reflect back on any intensity that came up for you around Christmas or the weeks leading up to it. That could have been sort of the beginning of true desires or shadows being revealed, anything you've been repressing coming up. This could be this kind of completion of acknowledging those things as Venus makes this final connection with Pluto. And the beauty of this is that Venus and Mars are working together. So it really gives us a choice of how we want to use this intensity, how we want to use the truths that are coming up and kind of slapping us in the face right now. We can choose love. We can choose to acknowledge even difficult emotions and see them with love and say, okay, what is this showing me about what I need right now? What am I not giving myself that I need right now? Or we can choose anger and violence, right? We can be angry about, oh, I wish I had this thing. I wish I was getting my needs met. I wish I was able to do the things I want to do. Here are all the reasons that are holding me back. So we really do have a choice with Venus and Mars both coming into a conjunction with Pluto. Pluto has this very almost an energy of duality because it rules death and rebirth. So it all depends on where you are in your personal journey, but this could be a moment where you're finally letting limiting beliefs or old patterns die in order to be reborn, or it could just be continuing to bring up those things that have been kind of murky, pushed down, that you've been trying to forget about. Because we know the more we repress things, the more intense they are when they come up. So if you're having a lot of intense emotions coming up, they're coming from somewhere. They're coming from within. They're coming from you. How can you love yourself through those intense emotions? How can you give yourself what you need instead of seeking it out from people around you? I think this transit is also a beautiful opportunity to ask ourselves how much of our power we're giving away to other people. Pluto rules our power as well. Are you giving your power away to your partner by expecting them to meet all of your needs? Are you giving your power away to your partner by expecting them to read your mind instead of declaring your needs, instead of giving yourself what you need? These are all things to think about today as Venus and Mars and Pluto are meeting up. But again, there's a really beautiful opportunity for truths to be revealed, true desires to come up, true motivations to surface. So this feels very relational. It feels very much like anything, any conflict or anything unresolved in your intimate relationships will probably be the focus of this. But if you're not in a close romantic relationship, this could come up for you individually or personally as well, of just limiting beliefs or intense emotions that you've been repressing. Again, desires that you haven't been fully acknowledging, motivations that you haven't been fully embracing. So look back to December, ask yourself what has surfaced since then, what's developed since then. Have those emotions originally brought up by the conjunction between Venus and Pluto back in December, have they been fully excavated? Have you pulled everything out and observed it? Have you been able to transmute that fear into faith yet? A lot of fears will be coming up today as well. Fears around relationships, fears around worthiness, fears around values, desires, motivations. And this is an opportunity, this conjunction, to transmute that fear, transmute those shadows into faith, to say, gosh, I'm angry I haven't had this opportunity, or I'm frustrated that these needs haven't been met. Okay, thank those realizations. Thank you for showing me what I truly want. That's how we can handle this with more compassion, with grace, by acknowledging these are just truths being revealed. You got to embrace them and acknowledge them in order to fully transmute them. This is a final opportunity to really dig deep and let anything that's not serving you fall away. Let any of those fears fall away and fully embrace your true desires. So I think that's been coming up for a lot of people already. Court says, hello. Hi, beautiful. Little moon hangover today. I felt the same, and I can't help but think this conjunction between Venus, Mars, and Pluto is kind of playing into that. It's not that I was in like a bad mood this morning when I woke up, but just kind of like Cassie was saying as well, just this need to take it slow today and really be gentle with myself. And, you know, I often use myself as an example of what's going on with the transits in my life, but even my partner and I this morning, we haven't been fighting. There hasn't been major power struggles, but both of us are really being mirrors for each other and seeing what shadows are coming up. It's been happening over the past couple hours where we're like, oh, you're experiencing that intense emotion. Where's that coming from? How do you truly feel about that? So the beauty of astrology, and I'm so grateful to have a partner who is willing to understand astrology and lean into it and embrace it. The beauty of it is being able to say, oh, it's not just because I'm bitchy today or cranky today or being my worst self. Like, this is actually an opportunity to see things in a new way, to move through emotions in a new way, to see life in a new way, to be like, oh, what have I been not paying attention to down there that I've been burying? I thought I was done with that. I guess I'm not done with that. So what can I do to like move past it or embrace it? right? So if you're feeling that as well, I'm right there with you. Again, understanding the transits, being here, aligning with the energy is the first step of giving yourself more compassion, giving yourself more love, and giving the people around you more empathy. So that's the major transit that's playing out today. And, as I mentioned, Mars connects with Pluto. That happened at 1 a.m. Venus connects with Pluto at 11 p.m. So really, this conjunction is going to be very potent all day long. Lots of fire and frustration between your husband and you. And the thing about conjunctions too is they have, what's the word I'm looking for? We can really feel their energy. Some astrologers say within 5 degrees of the conjunction, some say within 8 degrees of the conjunction. So leading up to this, certainly you might be feeling over the past couple of days those shadows surfacing, and even through the weekend you might be feeling these things as well, especially because the moon moves into Aries tonight, which does make us a little bit more reactive, a little bit more triggered, gives us a little more energy to work with. So don't be surprised if today it's not all out there and the blow up doesn't happen today, or it doesn't have to be a blow up, but you know what I mean. If it doesn't all come to the surface today, it could be over the next couple days as well, or you could have already been working through this if you're especially attuned to the energy, especially that Capricorn energy. Cassie's always in the Capricorn energy. My double, triple, quadruple maybe Cap. I know you have a ton of Capricorn placements. So yes, it's important to acknowledge that these transits aren't just one day feelings or one day incidents. We feel them long term over the course of several days. I just talk about them on the days that they are going exact. So yeah, no more reactive energy for Steve. All right, Steve, show him this video. Tell him that he's got to get it together. But also, how beautiful is it? Again, I was just talking about this between my partner and I, that you're here, right? And you're like, why is this happening? It's not just because Steve is an asshole, because Steve is a great person and we love Steve. We're all dealing with this energy and it affects us all differently, and it might bring up more intense shadows for some of us than others. So again, we can give other people more compassion, more grace, more empathy as we understand we're all under the same stars, we're all under the same energy, and we're all dealing with the same difficult transits, right? Okay. So let's talk about the moon now. The moon is still in Pisces, coming off of yesterday's new moon that was exact at 9:30 a.m. yesterday, made a beautiful conjunction to Jupiter yesterday. The energy was high and magical and perfect for manifestation. But if you're watching this and you're like, oh no, I missed the new moon, I can't manifest, you totally still can. The moon is in Pisces all morning, and really over the next couple days, the moon is still in that new moon manifestation state. So if you still feel like manifesting, you can do that anytime you want. You can manifest at any moment, but you can still work with this new moon today, especially this morning. So on top of the reactivity, the intensity that this conjunction in Capricorn with Pluto, Venus, and Mars is bringing, emotionally, we're more sensitive because the moon is in Pisces. Okay, so we can be more compassionate and empathetic and sensitive in that way, or we can just be more emotionally sensitive and empathetic in the way of taking on other people's energy. So the reminder for us here with the moon in Pisces through the morning is to set some energetic boundaries, emotional boundaries for yourself. Try not to play into or take on anybody else's work that they're doing, anybody else's reactive or negative energy that they're feeling. You don't have to play into it. You can still witness and be compassionate and hold space for someone without actually taking on their energy. Of course, that's much easier said than done. And then at 3 a.m. today, so while most of us were sleeping, the moon formed a conjunction to Neptune. If you had wild dreams last night or extremely vivid dreams last night, that's probably why. Neptune is the planet of dreams and our subconscious. And pay special attention to any messages that came through, any messages your subconscious mind was trying to tell you during those dreams. They could hold some clues, especially with, again, this conjunction in Pluto can bring up a lot of, it makes the subconscious conscious. It brings those shadows that we've been suppressing in our subconscious to the forefront of our mind. So Neptune is just the subconscious, and this conjunction between the moon and Neptune could have given you a little bit of a preview last night as to what issues you still need to work through. Cassie, if you're still watching this, by the way, you're the only one who will understand this. I had a dream last night about our old boss, and I was like so irritated and angry, and I was like, I woke up and I'm like, ooh, okay, that's a shadow. That's some anger or resentment I'm still holding on to and burying down from literally 4 or 5 years ago now. So yeah, definitely Neptune, subconscious playing out. I've been having super vivid dreams lately as well. And actually my mom has said the same thing, that she's been having really vivid dreams, but especially last night, I haven't been able to remember my dreams, but I woke up and I was like, oh, I know exactly what that was telling me. Yeah, nightmare, not a dream, a nightmare. I was also trying to get into an amusement park. Very weird dream. But yeah, if you had any vivid dreams or even just like downloads that came through that seem random, pay attention to any messages your subconscious is trying to tell you. And again, they could be a great clue of how to use this energy with the conjunction to Pluto. What do you need to pay attention to? What's still lingering there, filed away in the back of your old brain? All right, and then the only other connection the moon makes today is a nice supportive angle to the conjunction between Pluto, Venus, and Mars. So this is going to bring an emotional awareness to whatever is surfacing with this conjunction. We'll be especially sensitive to the intensity right around noon Pacific time. So in the next hour is when the moon is supporting that conjunction. You can see it here. The moon over here it is in Pisces, even though it doesn't look like it on this chart. There's just a lot going on over there. And it's forming a nice 60-degree angle to that triple conjunction in Capricorn. And so, yeah, this is just going to bring an emotional awareness to any of those shadows that are surfacing. And again, an emotional sensitivity to them. So be compassionate with yourself. I've said this 10 times already, but just be graceful, be compassionate with yourself, give yourself some grace, some space, give other people the same. Then the moon goes void from 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. So that's a time for rest, integration, processing. Wait to start any projects or any new endeavors until the moon moves into Aries tonight, because nothing significant will come from anything started between that window of 2 and 5 p.m. Pacific time. However, this is an opportunity to use the void moon to our advantage today because of all this intensity coming up, right? If it's prompting you to have conversations or confront an issue with your partner, with someone else you're in relationship with, because, Venus and Mars being involved is really going to highlight our relationships with this Pluto conjunction. If there's some shit you need to work through with your partner, with a friend, with anyone you're in a partnership with, the void moon could actually be a really beautiful time to do that, because nothing significant will come from anything started during this time. So it kind of puts a damper on the energy and allows us to work through things without it becoming an all-out war. So if you need to have a hard conversation, or even just do a hard thing, force yourself to do something you don't want to do, doing it under the void moon is actually recommended. And then the moon moves into Aries at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, giving us some fresh energy, some fresh motivation. We'll be ready to tackle our projects on Friday, really push ahead with full force into the weekend. Pay attention to your gut instincts or your impulses. Maybe don't react on them right away. With the conjunction to Pluto, it could be a little fiery, but pay attention to what instincts are coming up for you. We can listen to those when the moon is in Aries. And if you have excess energy, either just feeling like anxious, excess energy in that way, or anger, or even like a lot of emotions that need to come out, anything that feels like it's stuck inside of you that you need to get out, physical exercise is your friend tonight through Friday into Saturday with the moon in Aries. Moving your body, getting the blood pumping is actually going to help you move emotions when the moon is in Aries. So if things get heated, maybe go on a little walk, go on a run, do some yoga, dance around your house, whatever works for you. Take a beat, sweat it out to let it out. Okay? So let's do a wrap up and then we will pull a card. Today, we have a triple conjunction between Mars, Venus, and Pluto. So the planets that rule our relationship, the planets of love, are meeting up with the planet of death and rebirth. This can bring a lot of shadows or intense emotions that we've been repressing to the surface. And this is really an opportunity to transmute those fears or those intense things we've been burying down. It's an opportunity to transmute them into faith, to use them, to ask ourselves, why is this coming up? And what am I not giving myself to take care of it or to acknowledge it? This transit is also revealing or exposing our unmet needs, our unmet desires, motivations that we have that we're not fully allowing to come through. So again, really pay attention to what's coming up for you today, especially if it's coming up through intense emotions. Those emotions are here to show you what you need to pay attention to. The moon is still in Pisces throughout the morning. It made a conjunction to Neptune overnight. So if you had vivid dreams, pay attention to any messages that came through. Those could be clues on what your subconscious mind is trying to tell you. Then the moon makes a supportive angle to that triple conjunction between Venus, Mars, and Pluto, bringing an emotional awareness to the shadows that we've been repressing, to the things that we need to acknowledge. The moon goes void for the afternoon before moving into Aries, bringing a fresh energy, a fresh start, and a newfound motivation as we look towards the weekend. All right. Now let's pull a card. I'm going to pull again from this brand new deck by Rebecca Campbell, the Rose Oracle. I pulled from it for the first time yesterday. It just came out. Oh, Jackie, you had vivid dreams last night too. Yeah, mine were super vivid. And I've been sleeping next to a labradorite crystal I got from my friend Kat at Crystal Rising. You can buy crystals. She has the best crystals. crystalrising.com, I believe, is her website. And labradorite is known to make you have vivid dreams or help you astral project. And it has definitely been working since I started sleeping next to it. My dreams have been so vivid. So yeah, if you are looking to have vivid dreams from personal experience, I can recommend labradorite. All right, as I'm shuffling, this is your time to ask questions. Let me know how you're feeling under the current energy. And we'll see what message needs to come through. What do we need to know? It says, plant yourself here. Integration, embodiment, grounded action. Ooh, I love this. Plant yourself here. So what does it mean? Already, I love that the first word that came up was integration, because when we're talking about this conjunction to Pluto, all these things that are coming up for us, any intense emotions or feelings that are coming up for us, are asking to be integrated, are asking to be acknowledged. So just right off the bat, the spirit or whoever is bringing this message through, whatever power you believe in, is asking us to get quiet and really integrate whatever is coming up. Where are you? There we go. Plant yourself here. Invite your soul to come all the way in. From your knees to your nose, your cheeks to your toes, fully embody your life. Drop the defensive walls, let your soul land and occupy each and every cell. Anchor all parts of you into the here and now. Life is here even when death is here. Birth isn't possible without it, and you came here to birth this world anew. Don't you remember? Fully commit to living this life. Put your 2 feet and your ancient soul wholly and completely in. This is the card of the one who's committed to being the bridge between heaven and earth. The embodied mystic. They know that they don't need to denounce either heaven or earth. Rather, they are a weaver of worlds, here to embody their soul more and more with each new day, here to weave the sacred back into everyday life. This card is an invitation to commit more fully to your life as a soul having a human experience, to invite your soul to grow roots that reach deep so that you can grow tall, to commit to your humanity and your expansion at once. The rose invites us to embrace all stages of life on earth, from the buds to the bloom, from the cutting back to the fruit. Her beauty and sweet scent are an embodiment of heaven, a nectarous reward for being here. The rose reminds us to take a moment to properly enjoy the sweetness and all that heaven really can be, a place on earth. How can you commit more to your life? Oh, you guys. The fact that this card talked about death and rebirth, seriously, is mind-blowing to me, but actually not mind-blowing because it's always perfect. And just such a reminder that if you're here right now, you're here for a purpose, you're here to help be a bridge between the spiritual and the physical. And this card resonates so deeply with me. Like I'm almost emotional just reading it because it really feels like it's speaking to me. But I want you to know that my mission in starting these live streams was to be that bridge between the spiritual and people who are curious about the spiritual. And I hope you know that my goal here is to build a community with all of you. My goal is to share this collective energy with all of you. And by joining these live streams, you're part of that bridge with me. Your energy is influencing my energy. Your energy is influencing the words that come through when I'm speaking to you. So I hope you know that you are part of this dream of mine and you are part of this community that we're building together. It means so much to me. And on a personal level, just looking back over the message from this card, it says, drop the defensive walls. Let your soul land and occupy each and every cell. This feels so on point for this triple conjunction in Capricorn. Capricorn being a very grounded earth sign. So asking us to integrate all of these shadows into our physical lives, asking us to really pay attention to what's coming up and ask, okay, how can we apply this to our long-term goals? How can we embody our long-term goals? What have we been ignoring or repressing that's actually holding us back from the dreams we want to achieve? These are all things to think about during today's conjunction and over the next couple days. Life is here even when death is here. Birth isn't possible without it. Life is here even when death is here. So even when those intense emotions are coming up, they feel like they're too much to bear. I've been there, you guys. I know we all have. When it feels like things are dying, when it feels like everything is falling away, meet yourself there. That's where your life begins. That's the message that's coming through. That's what your assignment is in this lifetime. There's an unmet need, an unmet desire that you've been ignoring. And if that's coming up for you today, let it go so you can begin to embody that desire. Just everything on this card is, I could read it 3 or 4 times and probably get something new out of it every time. So far, I'm loving this brand new deck by Rebecca Campbell. This is only the second card I've pulled from it, and all of her decks are just illustrated so beautifully, designed so beautifully. The words are so on point every time I pull from them, and you can find these on Amazon. They just released, so cards are a beautiful way to connect with spirit on your own too, especially if you're someone who didn't grow up as a spiritual person or doesn't have a practice where you pray or meditate. Cards for me are a really easy way to tap in and get guidance. So glad to see you today, Bailey. Don't you remember? Yes, take on that responsibility. And this conjunction is probably happening in your first house. So, because I think you're a Cap rising, right, Bailey? So really activating your own purpose in this lifetime. If there's intensity coming up, it's here to show you what you're meant to do here. I think your dream last night just came to find its meaning right there. I just got goosebumps. You're so right. And I'm so glad that you said that because I didn't really connect the dots. But yeah, those fears, all the things I had in that situation that came to me through a dream have really shown me, okay, it's time to close that chapter. It's time to let go of that resentment, because I'm not meant to carry resentment. Who am I? No. Oh, I knew you would get that too and probably get a kick out of it. Yeah, you guys, I love you all so much for being here. And I'm just so grateful for this space to come talk to you every day. This is my joy. This is my purpose. And I'm so grateful that we're building this community. Even when intense transits come up like today, we can navigate together. We're here to support one another. And I hope you know I'm always here to support you, to answer your questions, and just so grateful for the community we're building together. But of course, old things had to die. Old parts of me had to die in order to birth this new community and this new creation. I had to say goodbye to parts of myself that I was really attached to. So I hope that I can be an example in that way of what can come when you totally cut off your old identity. Just kidding, but kind of not. Anyway, I'm just rambling now, just in a state of such gratitude, and this card really just struck me right in my heart. So grateful for you being here. I'll be back tomorrow morning to talk through the weekend ahead, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And tomorrow we have a conjunction between the moon and Chiron, so that could still dig up some old wounds. Just be prepared for that. Kind of lean into this energy of acceptance and embrace whatever comes up. Saturday, the sun forms a conjunction to Jupiter, which is a very hopeful, optimistic energy. Mars and Venus both enter Aquarius on Saturday, so we have a huge shift of energy coming this weekend. We'll talk through it all tomorrow. I hope you can join me live, but until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and to support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.